Hi, welcome back to Mind Control, where we inspire and motivate you. Hope you enjoy the video.
What are you going to do? When are you going to start doing it? This isn't about a convention, a conference. It's not about enthusiasm. Do you need to smile? Yeah, you need to smile. You need to smile like you're crazy. You need to smile when you're not winning, okay? But you need to do something, folks. And you need to do it 10 times, and then 100 times, and then 1,000 times. And if you do it enough times, you're going to win. You're going to get to sit wherever you want in life, on whatever plane seat, whatever hotel you want to be at. Stay as long as you want. Come and go as you want. If you don't want to go, you're like, they just cancel the plans. But we're inside of 24 hours. They're going to keep our money. Keep it. I can get some more. Shit, it wasn't even mine. Okay? The money I got in my pocket right now. Nope. See, Elena's got it all. The money Elena has in her purse was somebody else's money. See, but we're taught that there's a shortage and there's scarcity and you don't have any. All you have to do is be willing to call somebody, talk to somebody, make contact. If it's not getting you the result, tweak the contact and increase the calls. And by the way, if you don't want to do two things, don't tweak and just increase the calls. If I call enough people, I can say anything I want to say. Okay, if you're taking notes, write this down. No one thing will ever blow a prospect. No one thing will ever blow a prospect. There's nothing you can say that will mess a deal up. Not one thing.
How many of you would love a breakthrough? Number one, you got to have a permeating attitude that you're going to win. You got to have a positive outlook. You got to be optimistic. You got to know you're going to win. You got to, right now, you got to say, I'm going to win. I'm going to win. My life is going to win. There's going to be a victorious life here. Because listen to me, the price you pay for losing here is too extreme. You have to carry the burden of failure the rest of your life. You carry that around with you. The biggest thing that breaks my heart is you feel the spirit right now, and then when you get back, these dream stealers run into you. And they start to steal your dream, and you quit. You give up. You got to decide I'm going to win. You got to decide that the failure part of carrying failure, you've been exposed to what your life could be. If you fail here, the price is extreme. It's forever. You carry the failure forever. I'm being honest with you. You got to know you're going to win. You got to sell out. Yeah, I'm telling you, you got to become a sellout. You need to sell out. You need to get obsessed. You got to get relentless. You got to be a road dog. You got to get intense. That's what you got to do. You got to put your head down for a 4 to 6 year window like the best you ever had. This is going to be the best run we've had. We're playing offense again. We're selling the dream again. You can feel it. There's some dream stealers. You need to look out for these 4. Lack of confidence or faith. Lack of belief. It'll steal your dream. You got to know you're going to win. You got to have some faith. Don't give in to lack of belief, lack of confidence. You were made to do something great. You're special. You were made in the image of God. Something awesome is supposed to happen for you. And those of you that have made something awesome happen, something even more awesome is supposed to happen for you. Number 2 thing that steals the dream, failure and setbacks. People quitting, chargebacks, flunking the exam. That's all going to happen. Just get ready. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to do something great, you're going to have false start after false start. False start after false start. Get it going, then you don't. Get it going, then you don't. Your group grows, then it shrinks. I'm telling you right now. Just know that. Going to make some money, then you're not. Being an entrepreneur, tons of false starts, tons of setbacks. But see, a guy like me, I knew someone was better than me. There's more talented people than me. Probably more talented than you. But like my dad said, the best ability is availability. You might outwork me for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, but you ain't going to beat me over a year. You can't outwork me over 2 years. You aren't going to outwork me over 3 years. I'm going to get you eventually. I'm a dripping damn faucet. I just keep coming at you. Just like you could be, right? Just like you could be. I just keep coming. You might think I'm knocked out. I just keep coming. I'm too damn tough to give up.
It was very difficult to pick myself up each day believing that I could do it. There were times that I doubted myself. I said, God, why is this happening to me? I'm not trying to steal or rob from anybody. Why did this have to happen to me? It was very hard. And here's what I want to say to you. For those of you that have experienced some hardships, don't give up on your dream. No one could have convinced me by holding on, by continuing to push forward, by continuing to run toward my dream, that one day I would have my own talk show. It's a long shot, ladies and gentlemen, from Liberty City, an abandoned building on a floor, never knowing my mother or father. It's a long shot. No college training, labeled educable, mentally retarded, but I kept running toward my dream. Don't stop. Don't stop.
Most people half-ass half their life all the time. I knew they were going to get tired. They were going to flinch. They were going to get down. They may not quit. They might send a letter of resignation. They quit getting wide. They quit recruiting people. They quit improving themselves. They start sleeping in. They spend all their damn money. I'm not going to do that stuff. I'm going to save money. I'm going to get up early. I'm going to keep getting wide. I'm going to stay relentless, just like you should. Don't give in to that stuff. Don't give in to the fears. Don't give in to the setbacks. You're going to have failure. It's part of the game. I don't want someone taking your damn dream. Your lack of confidence, your lack of faith, some setbacks, okay? Last thing. Guess who steals your dream? Family and friends. Family and friends. Hey, you gave it your best shot. You sure it's not a scam? By the way, the reason they hurt you so damn much is because you love them. And they love you. And they're really doing it mainly because they love you and they don't want you to get hurt. My mom does the same stuff. Why don't you slow down, sweetheart? How much is the electric bill on this house? I'm like, Mom, I'm pretty sure I got the electric bill covered on this place, right? It's your family's job to try to reduce your pain level. Love them, but don't let them steal your dream. It might even be someone you're with. You got to face them head on. Someone starts trying to take your dream, you need to fire hose their ass. They start dripping on you. Listen to me. I had an uncle like that. They start dripping on you. You go, hey, shut it. Just so you know, you have no freaking idea what you're talking about. You're wasting your time. You're pissing me off. And if you want to talk to me anymore, don't ever say that to me again. Listen to me. The people in life that win play offense, not defense. Stop backing into everything. Stand up. Bow your back a little bit. Start to walk a little different. Start to be that best version of you. You can do it in your quiet way. You can do it the way you do it. But somehow they got to look at you and go, okay, I won't monkey with that one. You push back. You know squirrels can't find 74% of the nuts they hide? Why does that matter? Because you've been burying your dreams all your damn life. And guess what? You keep thinking you're waiting for the right time. When winter comes, you go find your little acorns, right? You think you're going to find them? Let me tell you something. You keep burying those dreams, the longer you wait, the harder they are to find. It's time you dig those things out right now and find them and put them right in front of you again and go chase them. You can have a great family and a great business and a great financial situation and feel great about yourself and travel the world and do whatever the heck it is you want. But you need to dig those dreams out right now. I want you to start picturing, what is it that you really want? Why are you really doing this? Really? Is it for any of those people sitting around you? Do you want to make any of them proud of you? Do you want to do wonderful things for your children? Do you want your children to know they can do anything in life because you've done anything in your life? There'll be setbacks. There's going to be people be mean to you. That's all part of the process. That's part of the jockstrap. That's part of the best day of your life, worst day of your life stuff. Now, are you willing to do the ugly, by the way? The ugly is doing all the stuff the people who lose aren't willing to do. You're going to have to put up with some rejection. You got to put yourself in an uncomfortable place. Listen to me. Do it. Put yourself in an uncomfortable place. Don't negotiate it. Unrealistic people rule the world. Quit trying to be so dadgum realistic. Remember this. Weird, rich, normal, poor. Get a little goofy. You got to get a little road dog in you. People are looking for leaders. People are looking for you. People say, what makes me a leader? Makes you a leader is your example. What makes you a leader is you investing belief and loving and caring about people. Any one of you in this moment could decide you're going to lead, because leadership is instilling something in someone that they don't see in themselves. Believe in them, care about them, tell them the truth. That's what a leader is. You got to rise up. You got to make your dreams a reality and live a damn masterpiece. You know this. Now, here's the thing. You got to make a decision. Listen to me. You got to make a decision. What's the decision? Now we're at the moment. The clock is ticking. People say all the time, hey, life is short. Let me tell you something. Life can be long. You bury your dreams, you quit this, life gets long. See, time's relative. 2 minutes of you being with your sweetie, doing whatever you like to do with them, that can go by quick, right? What about the last 2 minutes on a treadmill? Does that not seem like it goes by for like 4 hours, right? So if you're enjoying it, it's short. If it's painful, it's long. Life can be long. You want a life that feels like it's flying by. You want a life like I have right now where I go, can I just press pause? Can I just press pause? It's so good. It's so great. It's so rewarding. It's so awesome. But I don't really want to press pause because I know it can get better. So what's the decision? Is the decision to stop worrying about what people think? Is the decision to something in a relationship you have you need to get out or into and shake it? Is it a decision to get off of some drug or alcohol you're on? What's the decision? Right now, what is it? What have you been hesitating on? What are you afraid of? Face it. Right now, what do you need to decide? Is it getting aggressive? Is it believing in yourself? Is it coming full time? I don't know what it is for you. What's the decision? Maybe there's someone in your life that you need to get out of your life. Maybe there's someone you need in it and you need to tell them you love them and get them back in it. I don't know. But I know this. It's only a thought if you don't take an action. The difference between a thought and a decision is an action. So we know and you just decided and you know what it is. You know what it is. You will have really decided if within this next hour you took some step towards it. Something. A note you write, a text you send, a decision you've made, something you do that you follow up with the action to make it real. That's a step.
If you are building for the future, then you have to reimagine your strategy. This is how you're going to do it. You're going to do it through a strategy. What is a strategy? A synchronized step-by-step plan from point A to point B. Your strategy is important. You've got to fix your strategy. If you've been doing what you've been doing for 5 years and it's not working, it doesn't mean you need to give up your idea. You might need to give up your strategy.
We'd like to thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
Disease, over caution. Some people never will have much. They're too cautious. Now, you can also be too reckless, but you can also be too cautious. This is called the timid approach to life. And my caution was always the risk. Risk used to drive me right up the wall. I used to say, what if this happens? It's called the language of the poor. What if this happens? And on top of that, if this was to happen, look at the fix I'd be in. I better not try. I could always ace myself out. Then I'll tell you what changed my whole life when I finally discovered it's all risky. The minute you were born, it got risky. If you think trying is risky, wait till they hand you the bill for not trying. If you think investing is risky, wait till you get the tab for not investing. See, it's all risky. Getting married is risky. Having children is risky. Going into business is risky. Investing your money is risky. It's all risky. I'll tell you how risky life is. You're not going to get out alive. That's risky. The Englishman says, well, if that's the way it's going to work out, let's give it a go. Right, that's what it's for. Give it a go. Somebody says, yeah, but I'm looking for safety and security. Fine, then huddle in a corner. We'll cover you with a sheet, bring you 3 meals a day. And we'll protect you, feed you, look after you, care for you, we won't let anything happen to you, and you'll probably live to be 100. The guy said, well, yeah, I'd live to be 100. But what a way to live. Right. What a way to live safe and secure. Don't ask for security. Ask for adventure. Better to live 30 years full of adventure than 100 years safe in the corner. And see, it's not important how long you live. What's important is how you live.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks.
You have to take chances in life. If you don't take chances in life, you will never have the life God has for you. Life is risk. It take courage to pursue your dream.
Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living.
If you don't want to be uncomfortable, please do not pursue success, because success is a very uncomfortable feeling.
God wants you to be excited about your destiny so that you can endure the process that brings you into promise. Because there is a process before promise. And if you don't have at least a vision of the promise, the process will discourage you. But every time discouragement is trying to get you to give up the process, remember the vision you have of the promise and keep on walking around the wall. Keep on walking around. I'm tired, Lord, but I'm going to walk around this wall. I'm frustrated, Lord, but I'm going to walk around this wall. I'm lonely, Lord, but I'm going to walk around this wall. Thought I'd be married by now, but I'm going to walk around this wall. Credit's all jacked, Lord, but I'm going to walk around this wall. I'm trusting you when I can't trace you. I'm going to walk around this wall. And Lord, I am crazy enough to stand in front of a solid wall and shout as if it had already come down. Let's try that one time. Let's shout as if the walls had already come down.
Life's going to give you ultimately what you'll fight for. Stop allowing God to bless you and give you all this giftedness and opportunity and settle and tolerate less. Don't tolerate it anymore. Yeah, you got to give it your best, but it starts making a decision that this is over. I don't tolerate this life anymore. Pretty good's not good enough for my family. Pretty good's not good enough for my grandmother. Pretty good's not good enough for my grandpa, my parents, my future children. Pretty good ain't going to get it done for this family.
Some of you have money. Some of you have patience. Some of you have kindness. Some of you have love. Some of you have the gift of long suffering. Whatever it is, whatever your gift is, what are you going to do with what you have?
At one point in time, you got to take a chance on you.
A wise man once told me, you got to be willing to do the things today that others won't do in order to have things tomorrow others won't have. I'll tell you this, you can't make excuses and money at the same time. Stop making excuses, start doing what you got to do to make it happen. When you're sitting at your cubicle, when you're lining up for class, getting ready to go through the school day, or whether you're getting ready to take those kids out and get them going for their day as well. One thing I want you to make sure you remember is don't quit. No matter how it goes for the day, no matter what you go through, make sure you don't quit. Because every day, when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road that you're treading seems all uphill, when cares are pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns. Many a failure is turned about, though he might have won had he stuck it out. So don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You might succeed with just another blow. Success is being turned inside out, the silver tips of the cloud of doubt. You never know how close you are. You might be near, but you seem so far. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things go wrong, you must not quit.
Are you really being effective, or is your life cluttered with all kinds of stuff that demands you and drains you and taxes you and stops you from being your highest and best self? And are you substituting busyness and all the chaos that goes along with busyness from being effective? 80% of the things we do are busy things that we do in an area that is not effective, that the average person only spends 20 80% of their time doing the thing that they are really gifted at, created at, excited to do, and the rest of it is all the dismal, dumb stuff that we all have to do in order to survive. Just crazy stuff that we're doing. Wonder what would happen if we would go from doing 80% of things that are busy but not effective and 20% of the things that are really effective if we would switch those numbers around and only give 20% of our time to the things that we have to do and 80% of our time to the thing that we were created to do.
Make your move before you're ready. We're instructed in life to walk by faith and not by sight. See, you want to become a risk taker. You want to raise the bar on yourself. Most people won't do that. See, most people engage in low life living, low risk living. If you're not willing to risk, you cannot grow. And if you cannot grow, you cannot become your best. And if you cannot become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there? Don't allow fear, failure, and the allure, the attractiveness of playing it safe in life to draw you in. You can't get out of life alive. You got to die to leave here.
You were meant to be creative. It takes time to be creative. We do everything except the most important thing is to value our time. If you had time, you would be creative. But in the absence of time and with busyness and clutter and the phone ring, beep, 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 you all got music playing on your phone, all kinds of stuff. And no matter what kind of song you put on it, after a while you hate to hear it because every time you hear that sound, you know it's somebody else wanting something else from you that's taking you away from what you are gifted and created to do.
Risk used to drive me right up the wall. I used to say, what if this happens? It's called the language of the poor. And I'll tell you what changed my whole life when I finally discovered it's all risky. The minute you were born, it got risky. If you think trying is risky, wait till they hand you the bill for not trying. If you think investing is risky, wait till you get the tab for not investing. See, it's all risky. Getting married is risky. Having children is risky. Investing your money is risky. It's all risky. I'll tell you how risky life is. You're not going to get out alive. The Englishman says, well, if that's the way it's going to work out, let's give it a go. Right, that's what it's for. Give it a go. Better to live 30 years full of adventure than 100 years safe in the corner.
If you're going to be a risk taker, this is so important that you get, I don't care how old you are or how young you are, catch this right now. If you're going to be a risk taker, learn right now how to fail forward. Just simple. I can't tell you how many people I meet and I encounter who live life with this fear of failure. You know what I've learned? I've learned that failing's not that bad. In fact, I've discovered that if I'm not failing, I'm probably not succeeding. Because as I look back at my life, every bit of success, any victory I've ever seen is always laid upon mounds and mounds of failures before it. But if you don't ever put yourself out there to fail, then you're never actually going to get out there to succeed. Life, man, it's about failure at times. And we have to become okay with failing and getting back up. When I fall down, I'm not going to let it push me back. I'm going to let it push me forward. I'm just one step closer to the promise that God has for my life.
Don't let your past affect your present. Wash your past off of you so that it doesn't pollute your present. You'd be surprised at the people who have ruined where they are with where they came from. And you're not ready for what God is about to give you now because you're still polluted with what you went through then. You'd be surprised at the people who are married to 2 or 3 people. Not legally, but mentally and emotionally. You have walked up on this new man with 2 layers of other men still clinging onto your face, and you're ruining your present because your past is still active in your life. Wash it off you. You can't go forward until you wash the past off you. I don't care how long it takes, you cannot go forward until you wash your face. You're not ready for Boaz until you wash your face. You got too much stuff on you from yesterday. You must wash your face. Clinging issues from the past, residue that we can readily detect. I shouldn't be able to look at you and see your past on your face.
See, we live in a world where we're told more about our limitations rather than our potential. So you have to watch who's speaking into you. You've got to begin to monitor your mind. And you've got to begin to literally be proactive in programming yourself to success. Be ye not conformed to this world. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. You've got to take responsibility to make that happen. And as you begin to do that, you'll begin to see some incredible changes in your life. I understand now when Earl Nightingale said, all of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. See, most people stop short of their dreams and park and get off the highway of life because of the rejections of life. You will always be rejected. It's no big deal. Jack Canfield said rejection is a myth. It's not like when somebody says no and then they slap you. No, it's just, to me, make no your vitamin. Get excited about the no. Why? Because every time someone says no, that brings you another step to a yes. You're getting closer. Trust me, you will win if you don't quit.
I'd say the number one common thread of anybody that I work with is successful. Financial, athletes, people in politics, it's hunger. You and I both know intelligence is a pretty damn valuable tool, but there are a lot of very smart people who can't fight their way out of a paper bag. And then when you find somebody who has that hunger, the hunger that doesn't go away, that hunger to be more, to do more, to give more, that hunger that never ends, that's how you get these people that are the best in the world at whatever they do. And so if you can, I think everybody has that hunger, but for some people, it's been asleep for a long time because they're afraid. They're afraid that I'm going to get hungry, I'm going to try, I'm going to fail. And so it's human nature to protect yourself from the fear by just lowering your expectations. But one of the things I've learned is you get what you tolerate. You get what you tolerate in yourself, you get what you tolerate in your life, and sooner or later we sometimes hit a point where we say, not another day, not another hour, this is done. I'm not walking this way, I'm not talking this way, I'm not living this way, I'm not gonna be in this relationship anymore, I'm gonna change it. And when people do that, that's the beginning of a breakthrough. Everything in my world is based on coming up with the outcome that will serve and then going at it, but most of the time your approach going at it doesn't work. No one else knows that, but you can see it doesn't work, so it's constantly changing your approach until you can get where you want to go. When I enter an audience and I'm going to give a talk of any sort, I do a huge amount of homework in advance, I prepare, I see who's there, but then when I stand up here, I wouldn't be sitting like this. I'm scanning constantly who I'm looking for. The people think it's bullshit. I'm going after the people who got dragged there. I'm not looking for the people clapping for me. Those people will always be there, and there's some people who clap even if you're terrible, so you don't want to let other people's view make you feel good. I'm looking for who isn't there so that I can reach them, so I can show them that there's something real here. Because, most people don't know who I am. They'd see 10,000 people jumping in a stadium and they go, oh, it's just a big motivational pump up. I've never been a motivator. It's never been what I've been about. I think motivation is useful. It's like a warm bath. You should probably take a bath or a shower every day, but you need more than that. You need strategy. But what I really believe is energy. Most of us grew up, and right now, most of you are learning in the traditional style you did even when you were in school. You were trained to go to your seat and be silent and be polite and nice. But the world we live in today isn't like that. The world today, if somebody sits down and waits for someone to tell them what to do, they're in trouble. So my approach is constantly stimulating and seeing what's real, getting people to be raw, and getting to truth. As corny as it is, the truth sets us free, and we all can find our own truth as long as we put ourselves in an environment where we don't tolerate anything less than that.
Clarity is the DNA of mastery. So if you look at the titans of business, the true leaders in finance, these people literally will say, look at my charts. If you look at a great military leader, you look at a great athlete, they have such granular, in a world of superficiality, they have shifted to massive granularity so they know in intimate detail exactly what their future timeline will look like. Why? Because clarity breeds and builds and is the DNA of mastery. You want to have a very clear vision of what your future is going to look like. And when you know in intimate detail what your future will look like, then you automatically, subconsciously as well as consciously, can say no to the important. So you say a giant yes to the few things that are most important. You've heard me share this before. Confucius said it so well. The person who chases two rabbits catches neither. And so what I'm encouraging you to do is this exercise before you go to sleep tonight. Let's make this very tactical. I call it the 100-year timeline on a single page from where you now are 100 years out into your ideal future. I want you every single milestone on a single line to say, here's where I now am, here's what's going to happen next week, next month, next quarter, next year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 25 years, 50 years, 75 years, 1 year, 100 years, until you have a 100-year timeline. On the other side of the piece of paper with crayons, so you tap into your part of the brain responsible for creativity, your right brain. Okay, with crayons, draw out your ideal family life, draw 1 year away, draw out your business life 1 year away, draw out your adventure life 1 year out into the future, draw out your financial life, draw out your material life, literally on a page with crayons, so you're not thinking, because here's a needle-moving insight. World class comes from instinct versus intelligence. You get your best ideas when you get out of your thinking. And just to give you some neuroscience, the seat of reasoning is the prefrontal cortex, but there's a phenomenon I teach in my live events called transient hypofrontality. This is the secret of genius. Geniuses don't get their ideas for Uber, Amazon, the electric bulb, Tesla, Shakespeare, the polio vaccination, SpaceX. Great ideas don't come from the intellects. They don't come from the neocortex reasoning and thinking. All great heroes and great inventors and great creators dialed into something deeper. When you get out of your neocortex through solitude and my life structure that I teach called the tight bubble of total focus, and when you get away from distraction and you immerse yourself in deep creativity and creation, and you find your laboratory, or what I call your Menlo Park, like Edison had his Menlo Park, which was with the wilderness away from the world, what happens? The prefrontal cortex, it's silent, and it's called transient, which means temporary, transient hypo, small, frontality. The neocortex, the seat in your brain of thinking, actually shuts down for a short period of time. This is profound information and will confirm your brain is built for genius. But if you don't do the right things, you're not going to be able to allow the genius to see the light of day.
The hardest part about change is not making the same choice as you did the day before. And the moment you decide to no longer think the same way, make the same choice, act the same way, create the same experience, or live by the same emotion, it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel unfamiliar. There is going to be a certain amount of uncertainty and unpredictability. And the moment you feel uncomfortable, you just stepped into the river of change. Now, most people, the moment they feel uncomfortable, they return back to the familiar state of the mind and body. They start thinking the same way, acting the same way, feeling the same way, and they say, this feels right. No, in fact, that feels familiar. Now, going from the old self to the new self is the neurological, is the chemical, is the biological, is the hormonal, and even genetic death of the old self. That void, that place of uncertainty, that unknown, is the perfect place to create it. And if you and I can become comfortable in that unknown and begin to decide who we do want to be. In other words, many people say when they're in that unknown, I can't predict my future. This doesn't feel right. Well, the best way to predict your future is to create it, not in the known, but in the unknown. So what if you said now, what thoughts do I want to fire and wire in my brain? What behaviors do I want to demonstrate? And if you were to close your eyes and begin to think about how you are going to act, the mere act of mentally rehearsing who you're going to be begins to install the neurological circuits in your brain to look like the experience has already occurred. Now, what that means is that the brain is primed in its circuitry to no longer be living in the past, but now living in the future.
I think that success is a process. And I believe that my first Easter speech in Kosciuszko Baptist Church at the age of 3.5 was the beginning. And that every other speech, every other book I read, every other time I spoke in public was a building block. So that by the time I first sat down to audition in front of a television camera and somebody says, read this, what allowed me to read it so comfortably and be so at ease with myself at that time was the fact that I'd been doing it a while. If I'd never read a book or I'd never spoken in public before, I would have been traumatized by it. So the fact that we went on the air with the Oprah Winfrey Show in 1986 nationally, and people say, oh, but you're so comfortable in front of the camera, you can be yourself. Well, it's because I've been being myself since I was 19. And I would not have been able to be as comfortable with myself had I not made mistakes on the air and been allowed to make mistakes on the air and understand that it doesn't matter. You know, there's no such thing to me as an embarrassing moment. No such thing. If I tripped and fell, if my bra strap showed, if my slip fell off, if I fell flat on my face, there's no such thing as an embarrassing moment, because I know that there is not a moment that I could possibly experience on the air that somebody else hasn't already experienced. So when it happens, you say, oh, my slip fell off. And it's no big deal. I mean, like, I was on TV the other day and somebody says, oh, Oprah, you have a run. Have you not seen a run before in your life? Well, I get them too, let me tell you. So, I mean, I can't be embarrassed. I can't be embarrassed. Now, when I first started out, that was not true, because I was pretending to be somebody I was not. I was pretending to be Barbara Walters. So I'd go to a news conference and I was more interested in how I phrased the question and how eloquent the question sounded, as opposed to listening to the answer. Which always happens when you're interested in impressing people instead of doing what you're supposed to be doing. And it took me a while. It took me messing up on the air during a live newscast. I was doing a list of foreign countries, and there was all these foreign names, and then Canada was thrown in, and I called Canada, Canada. And I got so tickled that I called Canada. I go, that wasn't Canada, that was Canada. Excuse me, that wasn't Canada, that wasn't Canada, that was Canada. And then I started laughing. Well, it became the first real moment I ever had. And the news director later said to me, well, if you do that, then you should just keep going. You shouldn't correct yourself and let people know. Well, I know, well, who's ever heard of Canada? So that was, for me, the beginning of realizing that, oh, you can laugh at yourself and you can make a mistake, and it's not the end of the world. You don't have to be perfect. And biggest lesson for me for television, because then it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Oh, sorry, bra strap showing.
Freedom lies in the courage and the discipline of daring to attempt what others fear.
So I want you to look yourself in the mirror today. I want you to think about your life. I want you to appreciate your life. And as best as you can, because I know it's easier said than done, because we all do it at times, I want you to stop comparing your life. And then when you do compare your life, I want you to have a fact that makes you stop comparing your life. I want you to have a fact about that and make you stop comparing your life, because the more we scroll, the more I feel like a lot of people start to feel less about themselves. a lot of people start feeling more depressed. Do you understand? Negativity, you can protect yourself from negativity. And that's what stops most people, negative thoughts. It's a real simple exercise to do. I do it every morning before I walk out the door. So I walk out as a positive person. You know, I get tired sometimes because I get mentally drained from my job at times. But to coach your mind from negativity is with one simple thing, gratitude. Gratitude erases negativity.
You want to walk in security? You want to walk in who you are? You got to decide who you are. You got to define who you are. You got to put some value and some worth on who you are.
What do we say? But there'll always be tomorrow. Oh no. There's no guarantees you're going to show up tomorrow. There are a lot of people who were here yesterday that they're not here today. Oh, you can wait, but you know what Abraham Lincoln said? Well, good things might come to those who wait, but only the things that have been left over by those who hustle. You deserve much more than that. So take it head on, begin to explore. Here's something else. Decide to do it now. Decide whatever you want to do, that you are now going to become actively involved right now, exploring the possibilities for you.
Don't be a slave to views. Don't be a slave to followers. Be a slave to likes. Don't be a slave to popularity. Don't be a slave to any of those things. Because at the end of the day, the result of that is going to be this. You're going to die, okay? Because we're all going to die one day, unfulfilled. Because you lived a life full of pleasing everybody else. You lived a life full of making everybody else happy, except yourself.
Most of you, you're so consumed with everything that's going on in the world. This is the reasons you haven't figured out your own life yet. Every blog, every website, every tweet, every Instagram post, any and everything that's going on in the world, you are so consumed with everything that's going on in the world, you're ignoring your own world. You can never shine trying to sit on someone else's sun.
Find out who you're associating with. If those people add something to you, if they give you something in return, or is it all just a give and take, meaning like they just take and then you give? That's a bad relationship, man. Get the negative energy out of life. These people that you're around, they're always complaining and everything else. They're taking part of your soul. You only have so much to give every single day. Why waste it on that, guys? You gotta love yourself in order to love somebody else, guys. You gotta be whole and happy with who you are if you never help somebody else out. People say, oh, it's selfish to just care about yourself. Well, if you need some fixing and reworking, it's not selfish, because you can get yourself better and then be able to really lend a hand in an honest way to somebody to really help them out.
Here's the key to the good life. Learn to put everything you've got into everything you do. Whatever you are doing, pour it on. It will quickly open up into opportunity or quickly disclose to you that you ought to be doing something else. Here's the next attitude disease: indecision, mental paralysis. The guy can't make up his mind and it becomes a disease. Pretty soon he knows he's got it. A life full of adventure is a life full of many decisions. The ones that turn out to be wrong give you better experience to make better decisions. So don't see how many decisions you can get out of, see how many you can get into. That's where the adventure is. So shake off this disease, indecision. The next one is doubt. And one of the worst is self-doubt. There are many, but that's one of the worst. The guy doubts himself, doubts if he can do that well, doubts if he can make that much, doubts if he can accomplish all that. A chronic, excellent self-doubter. You can imagine what damage that does to your future. So here's the key. Turn this coin over and become a believer. And there's many things to believe in. One of the majors is yourself. The understanding of self-worth is the beginning of progress.
How do you keep the faith? How do you keep your head above water? How do you march against the tide? How do you stand up when everybody around you seems to be falling down? How do you keep firm and solid footing when everything underneath you seems to be slipping away? How do you keep the faith? You've got to be born again. And when you're born again, there are some things you just have to take. just some things you have to stand up under. There's just some fights you're going to have.
Instead of just looking in the mirror and saying, you know what, my biggest concern, my greatest competition is you. Right there, the person in the mirror that you see every single day, because I refuse to make the world happy and I'm dying inside. Any gain is not worth losing yourself. Period.
Nothing happens without leadership. Nothing happens without leadership. Nothing changes without leadership. Nothing develops without someone taking leadership. Nothing improves in any situation without leadership. Nothing is corrected without leadership. If something is not right in an environment, someone has to emerge and take the leadership.
I don't think I'm good enough. These are thoughts placed from the outside inside your mind. The minute you acknowledge that, that's not my thought, that's someone else's. You begin to eliminate, I call it like scratching the CD. When I begin to have negative self-talk, negative thoughts, I literally picture an old record player or a DVD and I just scratch it.
If you're working on your dream, sure there are going to be times you're going to want to give up. Sure there'll be times in life I'll knock you down and catch you on the blind side. But the challenge is to hold on. And if you hold on tenaciously, I say the universe is on your side. A way will come out of nowhere. Someone will step forward and help you. Just a blessing. Who are you? I don't know, but thank you for coming.
Nothing advances without leadership. Nothing succeeds without leadership. We are always being led by someone, whether we think so or not.
I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good looking enough, I'm not fast enough, strong enough, I'm not prepared enough. Once they enter, that's not my thought, that's something someone gave me when I was a kid, and I scratch it. And I literally say to myself, scratch it, scratch it. And over time, it's like a DVD or a CD or a record player. That thought can't be played again in your recorder when you scratch it enough times. So I literally picture scratching and I say scratch it.
You know, they tell you that the best way to eat is to eat just little every couple hours rather than to eat big meals and then go long hours without eating. Constantly, just kind of nibble your way through the day, eating the right food keeps your blood sugar level and all things like that. Same is true with truth. If you're constantly thinking about truth, it's going to renew your mind. It's going to change your mind.
So when you fear life, you are malfunctioning. So I'm afraid of nothing. I'm telling you, literally, I'm afraid of nothing. That makes me dangerous. A fearless man is a dangerous man. I'm not afraid of death. And that's the highest threat you can give me. And I'm not afraid of death. And you'll find that all true leaders have no fear of death. As a matter of fact, they have an affair with death.
You have to recognize if you're trying to eliminate all risks from your life, what you're actually doing is eliminating all possibility from your life. You're trying to collapse the universe of outcomes such that what you've lost is freedom. You've lost the ability to act because you're afraid.
Patience. There's a type of person for whom everything is undertaken out of desire to achieve a goal. They exercise in order to get in shape. They start a business in order to make money. I'm sure that some of these people are very successful, and they are certainly highly organized. A person of truly strong character sees success as an adventure, not as a point with an estimated time of arrival. Impatient thinking can lead a person into some very big mistakes. When you are always looking somewhere else, whether it's down the road or up toward the top of the mountain or off toward the left field fence, when you're looking off in the distance like that, you often miss what's under your very own nose. That means the pleasure and fun of living which come in the here and now get overlooked for something that not only isn't here yet, but might never arrive. True patience is more than just a waiting game. Patience doesn't mean you sit around hoping for something to happen. Patience is not a passive quality. Sometimes patience can mean doing something else entirely, thinking about another venture, taking off in a different direction, while you give events a chance to run their course.
And if you really take the time to think about what you're afraid of, you're going to realize that fear is not only irrelevant, it is a tremendous advantage. Fear is the ultimate tool to leverage pressure on yourself to succeed. When you're afraid of failing, when you're afraid of people laughing at you, when you're afraid of losing everything, guess what happens? You do the fucking work to make that not happen. Fear is a tremendous tool. And not only should it be embraced, you have to learn to use it. Being afraid is the best fucking thing you could ever have for yourself when it comes to turning that into energy, to have drive, to have ambition, to have progress in your life. But you've got to take that first step. You've got to take that first action. And if you don't ever take that first action, fear will paralyze you to a point of you becoming nothing, being nothing, standing for nothing, and basically being irrelevant your whole entire life. You know how you get fucking confidence? By fucking attacking your fear and overcoming your fear. There's a big misconception out there that people who are successful are not afraid. But I disagree. I think people who are successful are the most afraid because they're going to run the hardest, they're going to run the fastest, and they're going to be the ones who are going to take every single action that they have to take to make sure they get where they need to be, and at the very least, that they don't go back to where they were.
Credit goes to our awesome patrons who make videos like this one possible. Consider joining them to support our work. You can also support us by subscribing to our channel and clicking the bell button to get notified when our new videos are released. And as always, thank you for watching.